All right. Welcome to Inside the Broken Family. This is a podcast where we write and talk about our writings and explore the unconscious.
Ooh, that's so very deep.
And oh, it goes deep. This week's podcast, we have a guest. Her name's Heather. I'll let her introduce herself in however she feels.
When it's her turn.
When it's her turn. Any thoughts about last week's episode? I think it was...
What was it?
I don't know what the title was.
Or
You
we
guys
can,
really liked it. You liked
or
the
we
title.
can just
You guys all
ask,
liked the title.
how was last week?
It was
How does everybody's week?
something in
Too small to matter.
too small to matter. That's right.
I haven't listened yet.
Yeah, I really liked. I think that part of in your writing about that little bit of matter. It was what I liked about the title you chose for that week. Yeah.
I think Jeffrey, I think you suggested the title
Yeah.
for that one.
Too small to matter.
I need to listen to it.
Was that the one that you listened to?
No, I listened to the water.
Something about water.
Something in
about
the water.
About water.
Well, something about water.
I really liked my dad's writing. I thought that was cool how you built your world in nature.
Oh yeah. You just made me remember what I
Isn't that funny? Do you ever go back and read something you wrote and be like, I wrote this?
All the time.
All right, let's get started.
Well, last week we had, including yesterday, we had the book club. It was fun.
At the book club, yeah, we read The Alchemist. My story kind of ties to The Alchemist today, so that'll be fun.
That's a
I'm
great.
excited to tell it.
It's a good book.
All right, Abby,
Me first?
you first.
Hey.
Only the host can do that.
Do what?
Only the host can
Over.
pick you.
I will walk this way. Over the cord. Okay. This was a hard topic to think about for me. Trying to pick what to write about.
Lost love was hard.
My poem is called Lost Love. Alone with myself, the spark begins. The possibility of creation, my mind spins. Looking towards the ones older and wiser, I become my personal analyzer. Displaying my composition, waiting for approval, doubts devouring, needing a swift removal. A spark once found is clouded. Insecurities make my mind crowded. Motivation becomes others' expectation. Waving goodbye to imagination, artistic expression becomes a lost love. Wait, sorry, I'm gonna read that. 1 second. Motivation becomes others' expectation. Waving goodbye to imagination. Artistic expression becomes a lost love. Slowly finding myself, I'll rise above. Future self has much to uncover, but I hope this passion is something I'll rediscover. The end.
I loved the very beginning when you said, I don't know how you meant this exactly, but it was something about thinking about creating, or maybe you could read it. Was it like in the first line you said?
Alone with myself, the spark begins. The
Yeah.
possibility of creation, my mind spins.
Yes, I really like that because that could have meant, of course, anything from painting or whatever you're talking about. But I thought about one day you creating children. That's what hit me. And I thought that's kind of exciting for us, and Nana to be and stuff gets excited about. But that's just how it hit me.
I think what I took from that phrase was oftentimes this idea of creating can seem so massive, so endless in terms of possibility that it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so when you said creation and you paired it with this idea of heads spinning, it made me think of sometimes creating is cool, and sometimes it can overwhelm me to the point of I don't know what to do with all this endless possibility.
Definitely.
I like I don't know if I like the idea, but I think it's so true for probably all of us that we have something that we love and we did it because we loved it, but then because of outside influences maybe that play on us or that come down on us, we lose that love for whatever that was, and we wish that we could get it back. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of what you were expressing at the end there about your artistic expression is kind of a lost love?
Yeah.
But you hope to rediscover it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I felt that way with other things. And I think maybe a lot of people have felt that throughout their lives. Yeah.
When did you first start realizing you were losing your love or passion for art?
Probably when I went to college for it. The assignment kind of made it wasn't what I wanted to do. It was for an assignment. It was because I had to do it. And then after I was like, oh, I don't have anything to do. I don't have any imagination anymore. So I've been just trying to find it slowly in different ways.
Have you?
Yeah. I'm getting there. Those weird drawings.
That's fun. I envy people that kind of know what their talents are. Like, you have such a talent for so many things, but your drawing ability or your ability for art is amazing. And I always think, I am 60 years old and I literally don't know what I can do. And that's such an interesting thing. I gave so much to my kids and life as a mom. I didn't really explore if maybe I had some talents towards things. So it's it's a really weird place to be.
When you were younger?
When I was younger, sure.
When you were younger, what do you feel like were some of your talents?
I don't know. I could cook.
I think I could talk about some of the things that you shown over the years to love and to be very good at. Like interior design and like real estate and like space and all those things that
space.
Yeah,
spaces.
Wow.
Being able to
in space.
visualize.
That's what I thought. Wow.
Being
That's
able
a real
being
talent.
able to visualize an empty room and make it beautiful.
Yeah. No. That's one thing. Yes. If I had really ran with it, I could have probably really had a lot of fun. In fact, I had a real estate agent, the one we worked with when we moved here. She actually wanted me to team up. It was really big before it became big to decorate houses to sell them. She's like, you and I need to decorate houses to sell them. And I was like busy with a big family, and I just didn't jump on it. But boy, had I, that was literally 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. We probably could have just went crazy with that, and I would have had a lot of fun doing that.
All right, my turn. This is my first story that I'm telling that hasn't been written. And I had the feeling of if I didn't go next, I'd be thinking about what I was going to say the whole time. Wouldn't be able to listen fully. So, the story starts with a dance with a girl that I love. And after that dance, she said goodbye, and I haven't talked to her since. This happened 4 days ago, and 3 days ago, a lot of feelings and a lot of emotion around this dance and this feeling like I lost this person. It was all centering in me, and I didn't know what exactly to do with it. And so as I sat with that emotion, all I could think about was what to do next. What do I do next? And coming out of meditation, I opened my eyes, and the dogs that I have needed to go to the bathroom. And there's 3 dogs. One of them's name is Halo, one of them's name is Ember, and one of them's name is Jasper. Jasper, the 3rd dog, has a tendency to run into the street, run out of the yard, and leave. As I took these dogs out, I was hanging out with my friend Victor, and I'm sitting watching these dogs, making sure that Jasper doesn't run away. Victor comes out of the house and says, "Jasper's inside." And I was looking at Jasper. But for a second there, I thought I was crazy. And I wasn't looking at Jasper, and Jasper was inside. So I turned to look at Victor, and I asked Victor, "Is Jasper inside?" And Victor said, "No, I'm joking." I turned around to see Jasper, who had jumped over the fence, running through the yard of the house next door. I knew Jasper would come back. I wasn't worried about it. I went inside, closed the door with the other dogs, and was ready to just hang out, chill, wait for Jasper to come back. Victor started to freak out a little bit, get worked up. We need to go find Jasper. Pierce and Jeremy, who are the owners of the dog, they weren't here, and Victor was afraid that if they got back, Jasper wasn't here, Jasper might get hit by a dog. Something might have happened. So Victor was getting worried, and I said, "Victor, no, it's fine. Jasper coming back. We don't have to go. It's fine." And then I stood up and instantly thought, I need to go find Jasper. And this is when a wave of deja vu hit, and I was lined up, synced with the present moment. And I said, "Victor, get warm clothes on. We gotta go find Jasper." Me and Victor proceed to leave the house as I'm sitting with this deja vu moment of I've been here before. And the only words that can come out of my mouth to Victor are, "We need to go find Jasper. And hopefully Matcha too." Matcha is a cat that just showed up in my roommate and my housemate's garage one day. And Matcha stayed with us, just hung out. And for some reason, I instantly thought, Matcha is not a cat. Matcha is something else, something more. The last time I saw Matcha, me and Matcha made eye contact, as if a sense of knowing happened between me and a cat. And I let that cat walk out the door, and I never saw Matcha again. Until this night, where I have to find Matcha, I have to find Jasper, and hopefully Matcha too. And this is what I keep saying to Victor over and over and over again as we go up this hill, because Victor says, "Jasper's not this way. We have to go back." I have to find Jasper and hopefully Matcha too. We keep going up this road, and it feels like I'm walking on a treadmill, not moving forward, and the earth is moving under me. It's like I'm not moving, the earth is moving for me up this road to the top of this little town under a mountain. And as I'm walking up this road, I have to find Jasper and hopefully Matcha too. And as we're walking up this road, Victor starts getting more and more what's the word? He starts pushing more and more that we need to go back home. And I say, no, Victor, we have to find Jasper and hopefully Matcha too. And as we're walking up this road, after about 10 minutes of what it felt like 10 minutes, I see a figure on the other side of the street walking just like this, with at the same pace. Legs are moving as if you can imagine a dog's hind legs trotting on a sidewalk. This person was moving his legs in the same way a dog was. And instantly I saw this person and thought, that's just a person. That's just a person. And Victor goes, Jeffrey, are you seeing that? There's a person on the other side of the road. And I was like, yeah. And as I looked closer at this person in a white beanie and in white pants, his skin was black and his torso was black. And he just was walking at the same pace I was. No matter what, we were walking at the same pace. So in this moment, I started to run. To see if I could catch up to this figure. And as I ran, the figure got closer, and then Victor stopped. So I stopped. I thought, if Victor stopped, he would get lost. So I had to stop, and I had to watch this figure go ahead even further. I said, Victor, you have to follow me. You have to follow me, because Victor at this point started to see the whole world around him fade to blackness. And the only light he saw was his phone. And I was like, Victor, just follow me. If you don't follow me, you're going to get lost. And he was like, you just can't run, Jeffrey. I was like, we have to go find Jasper and hopefully Matcha too. And I looked up, and this figure trotted to my side of the street, and I started to sprint after it, and then it faded into darkness. And out of the other corner of my eye was this other figure, standing as if a Buddhist monk was standing. And I knew this figure as Matcha. I said, Victor, that's Matcha. And Victor at this point was going crazy. He was like, that's not Matcha, that's a human. These are humans, these are not animals. And I was like, I know how this sounds. That's Matcha. And Victor was like, did you see him get off the bus? Another fact about Matcha is Matcha's colors are gray, white, and green. He has green eyes, a white underbelly, and gray fur. Victor said there was a bus, and this bus was green and white. And out of this bus that I didn't see, this figure wearing orange, who had black skin and black pants and black beanie, just stood there wearing orange. And I knew that figure as Matcha. So I said, Victor, there's Matcha. We have to find Jasper, and hopefully Matcha will show us the way. So we continued. We continued up this road as waves after wave of deja vu turn into feelings of dread and terror. I can't keep going, which means I have to keep going. So I kept going. And as I kept going, my legs kept getting heavier and heavier as this weight in my chest grew heavier and heavier. And I knew it as the emotion that was being created as I was walking up this road. As I continued to walk, the figure of Matcha and the figure of Jasper disappeared. But I knew in my head, because of the waves of deja vu, that the omens that I was seeing were not ended. I knew that I was going to see a cop, and I didn't know what that meant. And I said, Victor, I hope we don't see a cop. And we kept walking up this road, and then we made it to the top. And at the top, these feelings of dread and fear and emotion, I need to turn back, got stronger and stronger. And as we came up to the top of this road, there was a cop car on the other side. The cop car had no one inside of it, and instantly I knew the cop car as an omen. I said, Victor, that's an omen, not a cop. And Victor says, there's no one inside that cop car. And I said, I know. And it turned on, and as we passed it, drove down the hill, out of sight, and faded into darkness. At this point, the feeling of urgency festered deep inside my sacral chakra, coming through my heart chakra to my crown. I needed to keep going. And if we don't, something bad is going to happen. And then I looked to my left and saw a shadow figure. A man, a jogger in black, on only black. His face was black, his beanie was black, and his clothes were black. The only light was shown was a ribbon of light on his chest. As I saw this jogger at midnight, I thought, maybe this one is an actual jogger. Let's not get too worked up here. It's going to be okay. But we do have to hurry, because something bad is going to happen if we don't. And I watched this jogger jog right past the street that me and Victor were on. And then me and Victor continued into this field under this mountain. And I thought, if we don't hurry, that jogger is going to come back and something bad is going to happen. So we kept going, and I started to run. And Victor this time started to run also. And as we're running for about 100 feet. We ran, and then Victor said, I can't run anymore. So I turned around. I said, Victor, we have to keep going. Something bad is going to happen if we don't. And Victor said, no, it's okay. I can't keep running. We got to just walk. And then as I stared at him, I'm turned around, facing where we came from, I see that jogger wearing black come back onto the street in this straight line, beeline, turn 90 degrees, and go jog right up to where me and Victor were standing at the end of the road. I watched this jogger as it stared blankly in mine and Victor's direction. I said, Victor, we have to keep going or something bad is going to happen. So I turned around and kept going. And then to my left, I see this jogger who was not jogging. sprinting straight into the field towards the mountain, faster than I've ever seen any human physically run. Just a shadow through the field. And at this point, I knew I was on the right path. Keep going to this mountain, through this field, and I'll find Jasper and hopefully Matcha too. So we continued. Me and Victor continued, and in the distance, as deja vu came to my head again, I was standing at the tree on a hill overlooking all of Ogden, the Ogden area. And as soon as me and Victor got to this tree, all of the feelings of I needed to go back, of the terror, of everything went away. And we were okay. And Victor said, I think we found where Jasper was taking us. And at that moment, the tree spoke, making clicking noises that I couldn't understand. It was like Morse code. That's what I thought when I heard it. It was Morse code. Something in the tree was speaking, but I had to keep going. So I did. And I said, Victor, we found where Jasper was taking us, but Matcha's waiting. Hopefully we can find him. So I continued, and Victor followed. Seconds after continuing from this tree, the wave of fear, of terror, of needing to go back, all returned. And I started to feel heavy. My footsteps were becoming slow. And then Victor went in front of me, and he wasn't following me, I was following him. And as we continued through this field, around us was a grave of stones. And through a fence, we found this field. And as we walked over this fence, tribal beats welcomed us, along with the fear and emotion. So we continuing, keep going, and then we found ourselves in the middle of this field, and Victor stopped and said, I'm not going any further. And I said, it's okay, this is where Matcha wanted us to be. And at this point, the only feeling I was feeling was confusion. There was no fear, no nothing, just confusion of, was this where I was supposed to go? Or do I need to keep going? And instantly, a thought came to my head. I need to find Minji. I need to find Minji. Minji is a jumping spider that I cared for about 4 months, watching her turn from orange to white, then transcending this reality out of her glass cage. Minji's the queen of spiders, and I needed to find her. So I continued, and Victor stayed. As I continued, I saw the hill where I was supposed to get to. And I saw a wave of purple, violet light fill the area where I was supposed to go to. So I went, kept going alone, feeling that wave of, I need to go back. I can't keep going. My legs felt like a ton of bricks. And then I felt a spider on my shoulder. I looked down at my right shoulder, and there was a jumping spider. The jumping spider was Minji, the queen of spiders. And that was where I needed to be. So I sat down and looked in the direction I had come from and saw the city of Ogden where I lived covered in bright lights, as if all the lights were creating a fire. I have to go back because I left out a part of the story. On the journey from Matcha to Minji, I had to pass through a grove of trees. And the grove of trees, as I was coming to the end, got tighter and tighter and tighter. And I was going through the last set of trees, and I felt a tension on my throat. Tension on my throat, like I could not go. But I had to find Minji. And then a snap. And then I found Minji. And as I was looking over Ogden, the city of fire, I looked up at the stars and heard the sound of Mother Earth as she tuned the skies and the stars, shooting a light through the 6 planets that were aligned on the 29th of January. As I watched these stars, all of the emotion that was felt on the journey up was released and changed and morphed into a thought of the girl I danced with. What do I need to do? What do I do next? And the answer was clear. Go back home and write her a letter. And that's what I did. I wrote my lost love a love letter.
Did you find the dog?
The dog came back.
Oh.
What happened to Jasper?
He was at the door.
What happened to
when we-
Matcha?
Where's
Did you
Mom?
find?
Yeah, I found Matcha in the field.
Oh. And you found Minji.
Yeah.
And you
No.
found the answer to what you were going to do with your feelings. Write a letter. That's
Wait,
good.
did you actually dance with her?
Mhm.
Where did you go dancing?
In an empty room.
Uh-huh. Did you bring Victor?
Well, why are you asking questions about?
The dance?
Yeah. What'd you do with Victor?
Victor wasn't at the part of the dance.
Oh,
But
okay.
Victor was on your journey
Yeah,
to find-
what did you do with Victor?
because you did have part of your journey you went alone, you said. So did Victor depart from you during this journey to find these 3 creatures?
Once at the field where Matcha was, I gave Victor the address to the house, and he was able, because he could still see the light in his phone, he was able to find his way back. But he did get lost a couple
How
times.
far from Pearson Jeremy's did you have to go?
The walk in total up was 2 hours.
So did you get right to the base of Ben Lomond? The mountain?
I think that's, yeah.
That's the mountain,
Yeah.
Ben Lomond. You got right to the base.
Right to the
I've
base.
been up there. I know that's a ways. So you guys went all the way from Pearson Jeremy's on Alberta Avenue to the base of the mountain.
Yep.
That's a hike.
So when
That
you
is a
were
hike.
talking about Victor's world getting black, was that him getting tired from running?
He didn't run.
Oh, he didn't run at all.
No, he kept at a good steady pace the whole time. It was slow.
It was slow.
So these joggers and police car and these things that you saw were all part of your journey,
Mhm.
right? Okay, yeah.
Omens.
Omens. I like that. I like the omen part. Yeah.
It's fitting for the alchemist. There's something about dictated stories that are just not written down, just spoken. And have like a totally different feel to them. And I hope we hear more just dictated stories on the podcast because it's interesting to compare and contrast the two.
All right. Heather, are you ready?
I guess that would be a good follow up based on what my story's about.
You were gonna say something.
Did you give the girl the love letter?
That day.
That's a good question from Mom.
At 12 at night?
That's 12 in the morning.
Did you like text it to her or like what?
No.
You
I
sent it in
delivered
the
it to her
mail?
house.
Oh.
I knew what I had to do.
Okay.
I saw the path on the mountain.
That's awesome. Did she receive the love letter? Do you know?
Nope.
Mm.
Don't know. Out of my control.
All right.
On the hot seat. My poem is also called Lost Love. Very creative, huh? Okay. My childhood started with you. Your entry into my world came through your beautiful mother one fine spring day. It was love at first sight. You were a beautiful mess and continue to be in some ways, a reflection of how I felt about myself. As you grew, your stubborn, obstinate personality mirrored my own. We grew up together. You were my mirror. When I felt insecure, you pushed me, made me stand in my full power and strength. My insecurities only made you test every cell of my body. My tired legs, my scrawny arms fought your power. You taught me if I stood in my sovereignty, I would be respected. Your power and physical strength became mine. We were starting to become one. One rhythm, one gait, one note. Others became in awe of our beautiful rhythmic dance. We had become one spirit, one soul, one creature, not of the human kind, of a sentinel, majestic beast. Stories for centuries have been written of this type of love, one of full trust and surrender, one of true vulnerability. You see, this love doesn't work without the pureness of this type of love, this love that has been expressed throughout ancient gods and goddesses, through tribes, this sacred relationship, this type of trust. This love only happens through full trust of each other. Life can be on the verge of death without the sacred trust. The power of your strength could crush me, but you are my best friend, my brother, my guide, my truth. You see, through your eyes, I see me. Thank you for teaching me, sometimes through immense pain. The lessons came other times through pure joy and bliss. As we galloped through wooded forests and streams, allowing me to feel the closest feeling to flying, you are my best teacher. I'm grateful you chose me as your human. No relationship has ever profoundly shifted my spirit and mirrored back my beauty and grace as you. Thank you, my white stallion. May the gates of heaven bring you to me on my return, that we can gallop to the meadow we have always dreamt of. Until then, my sacred warrior, thank you for the best childhood and for being my real life unicorn. That's about my horse Prince.
Well, it's amazing the power another, I don't know what the word is, consciousness can have in our lives, and that oftentimes acting as a mirror that reflects the best parts of us, that impact can be life-changing.
Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, he literally was everything to me. Every journal in elementary school was dedicated to him. My entire journal said, I love Prince all over the covers. I would rush home from school just to write him, and I mean, he was a little brat. Stubborn, and we were talking on the way here, Jeffrey and I was fucked off, broken bones, all the things that happened. But I showed and wrote English and jumped. And
What type of horse?
he was actually a Welsh pony.
a Welsh pony.
Mm-hmm. So they're about 15 hands. So, as a young girl, it was a perfect.
So 15 hands, that means you go hand over hand.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm trying to compare, because some people think that it's like a Shetland pony, but it's not. They're larger than, yeah. But they're, Oliver Wales, Welsh ponies.
I love the way you wrote that because it offered you freedom and strength, and then like frustration, but like I just love the way you kind of,
Thank you.
We're saying different things, like, and I love that I didn't know what you were talking about, so I wasn't sure if it was a love, what exactly it was, and that's what was fun about it.
Yeah. So when I was told the writing assignment by Jeff, that's first thing that popped in my head was Prince.
Cool.
So I was like, okay, I'm writing about Prince. And yeah, he was, like I wrote, we butted heads all from the moment he was able to be ridden. But it taught me so much in my life.
You feel like he kind of chose you? In a way?
I do. What I say is, just like life, I mean, I get bucked off and I get right back on the saddle and show him who's boss. And that's what I was taught. It's just like, no matter what, you get back on the saddle.
Do you think that was a lesson you needed to learn?
Mm-hmm. Very much.
How long did you get to have him?
Luckily, he lived through all 5 of my children being able to
Really?
be with him. And I think he was close to 40 when he died.
Oh my goodness.
And I did bring a picture of him.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Show us.
Yep.
You'll have to show us. That's fun.
So he was in my life from, I think I was maybe 7 when he was
Oh my
born.
goodness gracious. So he was
Yeah.
with you for a long
Forever.
time.
I mean, if he was like almost like my spirit,
Yeah,
my spirit
truly.
animal, but
Like
just-
he was,
yeah, it's like my spirit guide.
he
Yeah.
was truly with
lifelong
you.
companion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't let you down.
No, and it was so beautiful as our relationship through the years. If someone else got on his back and I was next to him, he would always just make sure he was right next to me and follow me. So the people that were riding him, I was like his. In like a wolf pack, they say there's a term for it, but they imprint on you. I think it's called imprint. We like imprinted onto each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
cool. So, how did he pass away?
Just old age. Yeah, I think he had like maybe a tumor.
But did you know, were you able to be with him then?
He is buried on my mom's property. I was living back east at the time.
Okay.
But he is on my mom's property.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I mean I can go on and on. I mean, he showed. He was a great trail rider. Our family did parades with them. We had a Surrey with a fringe. And we
Okay.
did parades every weekend.
Literally like Oklahoma.
Yeah, just like Oklahoma. So, I mean, he wasn't only my everything, he was really my family's everything.
Ah.
But he was mine.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was, he was my horse.
So did your family have a lot of horses then?
Yeah, one time we had up to 9, but typically 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah. My mom, she is an equestrian, so
Okay.
I was actually, she rode with me all through her pregnancy. And then as soon as I was born, she just strapped me onto her. And then I was riding by myself at 2.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How sweet. I bet
Yeah.
the pictures are so
Yeah.
fantastic of
And
that.
that's my whole life.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Horses were just, I didn't know anything different.
I think there's something so amazing about horses.
Yeah.
I
Well, they're just so majestic and they're so intelligent. Really, really. I mean, you just look in their eyes and it really is a mirror to your soul. They mirror back to you everything.
Yeah, their ability to read
Yeah, they can read
people and animals and energy
Yes.
is very
There's
high.
some videos of people doing Reiki with horses.
really
And the horses will come up and put their nozzle or their muzzle on the
certain
people's-
areas.
Uh-huh.
Ah.
Yeah, so they
So
can
they'll
really-
use the animal
the-
to
to
do
read
re-
the energy.
Ah. Oh my gosh, how cool is
So
that?
that's the thing to know about horses. Like if you're on a horse, to be very confident because they know when you're not confident. They can read your energy. Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, they're
Do you have
magical.
a favorite memory with Prince?
There's so many. I mean, I lived across the street from a 1,000-acre cattle ranch. So I call it the 100-acre woods for Winnie the Pooh. So I just get on Prince and we just go over there all day, every day. And there's, old tree stumps jump him over. And I had a really good friend in the neighborhood that had another horse. So we would get together and be like cowboys and Indians. Yeah.
How fun.
It was I really had an idealistic childhood,
Yeah.
It was, I had
Everything you want.
everything I ever wanted.
Yeah.
I think most children probably dream of that.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
life.
And it's funny
at
because
some
when
point.
you're a child growing up like that, you don't really think much of it. But then when I got out, after high school, I'm like, wow. But in a sense, it was like living in a bubble.
Yeah.
So
For
when
sure.
I got out in the real world, I was like,
What is this
what
place?
is this?
You're like, I want to go back to my
the bubble.
world.
Yeah.
Because imagine could you have ridden as far and as wide as you had wanted to?
Yeah, at that
I
time.
mean, that's crazy,
Right.
right? You think about that.
Mhm.
Go play, kids. You're
Yeah. Oh, we were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew, around dinner time we'd come home. 'Cause we
Yeah.
were hungry, but we were gone.
Yeah, I mean,
This is one of your childhood dreams.
to have had
To have a
horses.
horse.
Absolutely. I took horseback riding
Oh.
lessons when I was 10, 11. And it was always my dream to want to have a horse. And when I got to go brush them or
Yeah.
clean stalls, like for me, that was like
Yeah.
just everything. So it's probably something I should, if I just need to take lessons again
Yeah.
and like because to me it's freeing.
Well, that's what, for me, I'm all about freedom and sovereignty. And that was such an example to me of what true, a horse is so free, really.
Yeah, to get to go out in the
And-
woods and ride or
Yeah.
whatever, you
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah. It was just
Crazy.
And I have 4 siblings, and my baby sister and myself, we are both horse lovers. And my 2 middle siblings, they weren't into the horses.
Do you still have any horses now?
No. My mom has miniature ponies,
Oh, fun.
and she drives them in pony carts.
Oh, she
If you guys
does.
ever come to California, I call them, My Little Pony.
Oh my goodness.
One's white and one's like.
Are they
shower.
sweet?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, that's,
And they're the size of your dog. So
Yeah,
they're
that's funny.
Yeah, they're really sweet. But
and what does she do with them? Just
She drives them
What does she mean by she drives
in
them?
a little pony cart.
She literally sits in the
Yeah.
cart and they pull her?
Yeah.
How many little ponies?
She has 2.
2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that'll be my
Yep.
thing.
Yeah, I think
I would enjoy that. That would be really good.
Well, my mom, she'll invite somebody like you to do it, and the next thing you know, they have their own pony and cart, and so.
That's what would happen with
Yeah.
And my mom's 20 years older than you, so she still does it.
That's awesome. How old's your mom?
81.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
she just turned 81. But yeah,
That's
she.
so cool.
Yeah, but. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dad?
I was gonna write a story on our monthly topic like I usually do, but I didn't end up doing that because this thought wouldn't leave me alone. Speaking of omens, maybe? I don't know. So I sat down and wrote this, and this is what came out. Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what you guys think. A lost love. Is it possible to learn to fall in love with moments? A question reverberates in response. What kind of love do you speak? I'm not talking of some shallow dribble, some objectified selfish lust of a one-night stand. I speak of a love of both depth and breadth. Depth so deep that light cannot reach, and of such breadth that gamma rays are heard in their purest notes and radio waves seen, derobed, naked truth. Are you saying what I think you are saying? Are you saying all moments must be loved? Yes, I hear as clear as the sun shines on all, and the rains do not discriminate. Love of this kind is not a part of the river of emotions. It is not the clear mountain stream of clean feelings or the deep, dark Mississippi endlessly pouring its dirty feelings into the ocean. This is a love of the golden eagle's wingspan. This is a love of walking outside in every season. This is the love of roots deep in the rich soil of Mother Earth, searching for molecules of water. This is a love of the chrysalis ripped open and abandoned. This is a love of the quiet witness. You speak of a love unknown to my heart. Why does my heart tremble with fear? Your heart beats with iron truth of 1,000 supernovas. Your heart knows loving your moments with this love is a call to fill oneself with the life-giving spring that will freeze you to the very frame. The very source of the soul-growing nutrients will also squeeze every tear from your eyes, rip every sound from your lips, and require everything, including your last breath. What are you saying? If I'm no respecter of moments, and I truly love every single one, then I must die? No. So much worse. If you open your eyes, your doors, your arms, your windows, and your heart to every moment, if you allow this eternal spring to fill your mind, your cup, and your lungs, then a coroner, a grave digger, a mourner, and a grim reaper you must be. If you are to truly learn the art of loving your moments, you must learn the art of unclenching your fists and allowing the hymn of the dead to slide from your tongue. And you must build the muscles of the sun and the moon and do it again. 1,000 joys will always will always bring balance with 1,000 funerals. If you learn to love your moments, you must learn how to lose love too.
So when you said you must unclench your fists and allow the hymn of 1,000, I don't remember exactly you said of 1,000, dead before to flow out. What did you mean by that?
You must learn the art of unclenching your fists and allowing the hymn of the dead to slide from your tongue.
Can I take a guess?
Sure.
I heard just from the Hymn of the Dead a kind of a call to bringing your ancestors to life with the power that you have, with your voice, with your words. Bring their wisdom, their knowledge, the dead's knowledge and wisdom up through your tongue, through your words. So I heard.
I like the idea.
I was actually thinking that same thought in my head, that it was something to call forth the ancestors. But
What the ancestors didn't get to finish.
yeah, oh, that's a good thought too.
If you, through this lifetime of moments, learn to or realize that in order to love every moment, you also need to realize that you lose that love because you move into the next moment. That love, it's not that it's lost, but it just by virtue
Changes.
of moving into the next moment and being aware of that next moment's love, you've lost the love before in being present in that next moment. I don't know, I got that also from what you were writing.
You also talked about loving, if I understood that right, the nature, outside, being outside. If I caught that.
The span of an eagle's wing.
Yeah, and I thought
The chrysalis, the broken open chrysalis.
how nature or being out in nature is ever changing. Every season, every even moment, the leaves falling or the birds making nests and the babies being laid, whatever that is that's happening, it's always changing. I thought that was I don't know. That's what I was thinking
That's
about.
what I was going to say too. The only thing that's really constant in life is change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many of us want nothing to change?
Right.
That's why we get stuck.
What did you say?
I said, it's so interesting because I just thought,
No, the last thing you said.
How much of us?
that's why we get stuck.
Before that.
How much
Oh,
of us really
don't-
change?
No, don't want something to change. I think I spent so much of my life not wanting it to change. You know, I like where my kids are. I don't want them to get bigger. I don't want them to graduate.
You want to freeze them as ice sculptures? Watch them melt?
No, but that's woo.
You're like, well, maybe.
Maybe one day.
Till they're water.
Till they're
Until
melted.
summer comes.
All right, that became very deep and melting.
I felt like you were really in a maybe another way trying to express your sense of living in the moment, loving in the moment, in the present moment.
Yeah, well, and I think also, like, there's some moments you don't want to love.
Right.
Some moments that are just,
Hard.
why is this going on right now? And it's like, if you can, I think you were asking, like, should I learn to love even those moments that I can't stand to be in?
Yeah.
I'm reading a book right now, and it's about this. But one aspect of it is sometimes we actually get married to the almost like the shadow aspect of
Or the idea of something.
the idea of something, that there's a reason it's for our growth, but it can also keep us stuck and stagnant in those moments.
I think it's interesting, like when we were watching Grandpa pass away. I don't think that was a horrible moment at all. That was, even though it was a strange moment to be standing in to watch your dad passing away. I mean, we didn't start out the day knowing that was going to happen, but we were lucky enough to be there, and it was like such, in a way, a cool thing too. As weird as that sounds, it was like just something I didn't expect it to be such a not a bad thing.
That was your perception
Yeah.
of that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
There may have been others in that room
That would
it
not
was
feel that
was
way.
a horrible moment.
Yeah.
And
Oh, it was. There was different people in the room, for sure.
so different perceptions of that same thing that your dad was going through, passing. There were different people looking at it and experiencing in different ways.
Yeah.
I've also worked with people who, as children, come upon their dead parent from suicide. Right?
Yeah, no.
Or heard it happen. Or
I mean, those are moments that I don't know how you make them through.
How do you unclench your fist and let the
Yeah, like those kind of
names
things.
of the dead come through?
Like that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know how they work through that. I don't know how they, how you deal with that.
And the only reason I bring it up is because it really is a gift. Well, I'm beginning to see everything as a gift, but the universe seems to be extra compassionate, kind, when timing seems right. You saying, I got to be with my father as he passed. The reason it was a decent moment in part is because you are where you're at as a person, and the timing was somewhat correct.
Right. He was
Like if you were, let's say you were
7
homeless,
years old.
let's say you lived on the streets and your dad was passing in some home, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you might not have been there, or
Right. No,
you might not have had this home to even have that moment.
Right, but I see what you're saying. You're saying he wasn't young. I wasn't young.
Yeah.
I was older. I'd had my dad round for a long time.
And that's what I was going to say. I think, like you just said, it's a reflection of where you are too. You saw it as a sacred, beautiful transition. It's kind of like birth.
Yeah, it can be,
Uh-huh.
and we were lucky because he didn't seem to suffer a great deal, at least that we could see. And my sister was completely different on the way she handled it,
Your older
and
sister was like a child.
my brother-in-law, they were completely angry and different, and it was a different space.
They were more disconnected to that moment than maybe others.
And instead of just looking at it like, yeah, it is a change. It's something weird.
Well, actually, I think what you just said is a really good maybe connection to what I wrote in terms of if someone steps into a space like death and they haven't unclenched their fist from memories or experiences, how can they really be present in that moment?
It was interesting. We had a close friend who passed away. Gosh, how old was he? 63 or 2?
Yeah, he was in his early 60s.
In his early 60s, yeah. And he died unexpectedly. And I got a call, I think from one of the daughters. I can't remember now. Poppy, my dad died. And I just said, what? Where are you? So as I was getting to the car, my daughter had found out. She came home. She was bawling. She wanted to go with me to the hospital. And so we got in the car and we went because I wanted to find my friend Sue and get there and see Larry. I wanted to see him. And we get there and I didn't get to see him yet. And I really just wanted to see him. And she said, Bob, can you wait for his daughter to come and be with her and you and me, and we'll just go and spend time with Larry. I said, okay. So we get in there, and they finally got here, and we go, and Larry's laying on the table, and or it might have been a bed, I don't remember now. Anyways, and we got in there, and Larry was very broad-chested, and he just looked so prominent still laying there. And we said we need to pull out the cards, and we got talking about how much Larry loved cards, and we needed to have a game of cards, and just talking about some really great memories standing around his body. But it was a really great experience, just all standing and sharing a memory together. And it was something you wouldn't think would be good, but it was a sweet thing.
Mom, do you have it ready?
Yeah, I do.
You provoked a lot of thoughts, Jeff, with your thing.
It's always a good thing.
I had to kind of step out a little bit, but I really did like how, and I don't know what the conversation was, but I think opposition is always happening, and you have to feel certain things in order to feel other things. And I really liked how you captured love and then the opposite, and you have to have both in order to be be fulfilled. So all right. Mine's called A Lost Love as well. Surprise. Okay.
I don't know what mine is.
All right. Here it is. Have you had a love that showed up one day? It was unknown, unexpected, but needed like an airway. Creating a bond, comforting and sustaining, not free of pain nor the fear of maintaining. It was not taught to you or even explained along the way. You put in the work and tears day by day. It was all made worth it in tiny moments between two. Were cherished and soothing. They were here, and then they flew. Sometimes space is needed, and you take a pause. You meet back, and everything is as it was. Remembering and working together is this time a little better. Comfort and connection wraps you both like a warm sweater. Bonds of deep love weaved between two once more, enlivening and enriching each other deep to your core. Sometimes there is pain with each piercing bite, but at times it is needed to learn from a fight. After time, you gather yourself and start again. Learning how to love different seems a little, I was supposed to say again. Learning how to love different seems a little insane. But you do it day in and day out, searching for that bond and love to sprout. You know this is the last time, all you have to give. So you enjoy each moment, breathe, and live. Until the time comes when it is time to say goodbye. Your heart breaks and you hold yourself and cry. You had a wonderful, beautiful time together. Now a lost love you find you have to weather.
Yes.
That reminds me of many things, including raising children.
Yeah, that's a hard to let go, right?
That again.
Like,
That's called a slant rhyme.
yeah.
Just fun fact.
That poem was very true in all the beginnings to the middle to the end. I can't imagine when one of us one day have to say goodbye. That doesn't sound very fun.
It's a part of your journey, though.
I know. And everybody will experience that. It's like, it was so much easier being oblivious to that when I was younger. I didn't really think about it.
Yeah, like you have 7 children. One of your children will watch all other 6 children die.
Yeah, you're right.
One of your children won't watch any of them die.
Right. Right, they will be first.
In the natural
Yeah.
passing of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they'll always be first, whenever that will be. And it could be, you all got married right in line. Every one of them did. From oldest to youngest. So everyone's married but my youngest son. But it's, yeah, that, I don't know, emotion. I don't know if it's just the older I'm getting that everything, life seems, or just changing in my thinking, but life seems so fleeting, not like it could be a moment, or maybe it just seems like a moment, but it could be years, but then it'll be just like a moment. If that makes any sense.
Those loves that we gain throughout our life, even though one day they may be lost, the love will always, always be with you. It for endless time. It will never be really, truly lost.
So do you, Annalie, is that weathering of lost loves, is that like a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it something that makes you cry?
So this was very tender for me, because I wrote it about something that I've had to say goodbye to. That I'm weathering.
It feels like sometimes that storm just is never going to end.
I think there's not really an end. I think there will always be a place in my heart for this end. But I'm also like, and that's something that you need to grieve, you need to feel, and then also look forward to the next phase, the next step, and that there are many more things to look forward to or experience. But it also makes it more sweet, and Jeff's writing kind of made me think about that, how in order to find that joy, I had to know, in order to know that it was a great love, I had to know that it was gonna hurt to give it up. So
What you wrote is really cool because it can pertain to so many different things for people listening to that.
One of the images that came to my mind was a couple fighting over and over again. And that couple they found love and then lost it. And I kind of had the thought of, I guess that's what a couple fighting is losing your love for that person so that you can find it again.
Or find it greater.
Or find something different that you call love.
Different or
also.
more. Yeah.
I think that's part of growing. And I mean, a marriage is a tough road of so much fun, so many things that are hard, so many great things, flows along, and then it, it's just this journey of up and down roads. And so I think if you're two people willing to work on it, sometimes more than others, some days maybe no one wants to work on it.
I think that's why I love this topic so much, is because like through that journeying of, up and down hills and long winding roads, like, do you ever really lose any love? Or do you ever just, it's just like a building.
It's an accumulation.
It's an accumulation. And even after the thing might be gone, it still is appreciated in a way that it couldn't have been in the moment.
Well, I think the coolest thing about when you're willing to stick through the hard times, of no matter what we go through, we grow in a way we didn't realize we could. And then if you stick even longer through it, I think it just makes you appreciate even moments more and more.
I just want to say, I really hear you. I know what your poem is about. And I totally understand what you're saying. And I thank you for sharing that. It's very, very sacred.
I was thinking about the book club yesterday, more about like legends, and I was thinking about like what would Annalise legend be, and I was like thinking, and then your poem just made me realize your legend was being a mother, and that's why, like, it would make sense why this would be a big thing for you, because you fulfilled it, and it was beautiful.
Alright, Papa, you ready?
Thanks, Emily, for sharing that. You have a way of doing things that make you think about all just different things, the way she writes.
Like a kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think this week I approached it similarly to Jeff, and thinking about a story with our topic, and I couldn't get away from this thought, and so it's not going to be a story, and it's so interesting, Jeff, what you wrote, and Annalie, what you wrote. I think this is, in some ways, bits and pieces of both of those in my kind of perception of moments and losing the love of that moment in the moment, but gaining so much more in the next moment because of it. So. And I guess I have to say, before I start this, that I choose you in this moment, and I have in moments 1,000,000 times over in our life. And that also kind of plays into this. All right, this is not titled Lost Love. The title of this is Blink. Lost loves, coupled with loves lost, leads to discovered loves, bringing love's beauty. Each moment passes. From newborn's first breath, love's life begins. Decades pass. 2 billion moments ticked rhythmically forward. second upon second, with eyes wide open to a world of expanding and connecting loves, while unknown dreams, vivid before slumbering forgetfulness, bring lost loves forward to a bright new day. Inhale, life's love discovered, unaware, taken for granted, just one breath. In 500 million breaths taken, life's lifeline to existing. Exhale, life's loves lost, to only repeat over again and again and again. Daily human contact, touch, over 25,000 touches, intimate exchanges, windows to the soul meet, simple, genuine smiles greet. A hug, a kiss, a gentle caress, a loving whisper, a kind expression, a friendly handshake. Strangers no more. Moments pass, lost love's moment never to cross life's path again. Uniquely lost, love's uniqueness uniquely expressed, and yet to be compounded forward, love's continuing moments of expression bubbling onward, building beautiful fountains of life-sustaining connections. Love's moments lost, coupled with love's moments of love bring tides of awareness, crashing waves of consciousness upon mindful moments of nirvana, as rising tides of time gravitate humanity forward with love's blossoming blooms, pollinating creations of beauty and life. Senses, sustenance tingles, awareness's gratitude flows, seasons, appreciation dances, life's bounty explodes, blessing are acknowledged, love's growth climbs fervently as love's abundance springs outwardly, as heart's green chakra sprouts lovingly. One blink at a time. Because for each moment past, we've breathed the present and gained access to the next moment to live. Blink, a love is lost. Blink, a love is discovered. Blink, a love is appreciated.
Right.
The idea that if you are in a relationship with somebody, it's not like if you get married, that's not the only decision you'll have to make. You'll have to, in every moment, choose that person over and over and over, and you have to be aware that there is that decision to make in every moment. I love that idea.
I like the bee. You said something about bee pollen or the
Pollinating creation.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Just in the humanness of creating families.
Right. I just love that idea of being like the bee, gone it and got the stuff from the flower and then it just sort of dropped it along. But that's what we did. We created this journey together, this family. And I remember literally, I think on the table with Sam, I was like, I want to have one more baby. And the doctor said, no, I don't think so. If you want to live to raise the 7 you have, it'd probably be a good idea not to have any more. And I remember being so bummed that was like such a weird thing. Because first of all, I never thought we'd get to 7 kids. But the fact that we did is crazy.
So do you feel, I think I know the answer, but I want you to kind of talk a little more about this. You feel like in that moment, here you are on the delivery table, and Sam is in your arm or arms,
I think I just had him, yeah.
and you have this feeling of wanting to have another child.
Yeah, I felt like I was ripped off.
What did the doctor say?
I told you.
Oh, did you say that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because silly as it is, right, we still could have made that choice, but I obviously have struggled with my
you were
health.
only almost 42.
I know.
So, I mean, that's no big deal. I mean, you could have another baby at 44
Yeah.
or 45.
No, it was good to stop, but it just felt like, anyways.
I think that's wonderful, Pop, because I just can look back on your journey as a mother and how with every child, I think you settled into the beautiness of how you felt about yourself being a mother, and how much joy that had brought you.
I think being pregnant, I loved being pregnant, even though sometimes I got really sick, but I think the movements and the things you get to experience, like I really just embraced that part of being pregnant. Like it's like I never wanted to just wish it away or wish that I wasn't pregnant anymore, because especially when after your first one, because you want to meet them so bad, but and I remember my second one, I was feeling that same way, but then after that, it's like I was lucky enough to have a boy and a girl, but it's not that I wasn't ready to meet them. I knew what that was like to go through that, but I wanted to continue to feel, you just didn't get that beauty of having them in your womb. I'm like, that's an amazing miracle that I was blessed enough to have that and get to carry children. Some women don't have that blessing to get to do that.
And don't you believe this came out the other day when I met Jeff and Jeffrey? Actually, there's like a hollowness of your womb when you don't have a baby in there.
Yeah.
And at this age, there's so much emotion around the womb.
Big time. Big time emotion, which I did not realize that we carry.
It's mourning
Right.
the loss.
Mm-hmm. And when I never thought I would experience this. I've shared this before, that I was 50 something when I had a hysterectomy because I had been bleeding and they couldn't stop it. And they found I don't know, there was a couple of things in there too. But anyways, I just thought I haven't had children for a long time, so I didn't expect to feel anything. But when I woke up, my first thought was, I cannot have any more children. And I thought, what in the heck? Why would I think that? But it was like that ability is taken from you. So there is such powerfulness in that, which I didn't realize.
That came up the other day I realized how much grieving I have around my womb. Mm-hmm. And it was just like that reminder of, wow, there's a lot of grief.
Yeah, I didn't realize the energy we carry
right
in our wombs in this area. So interesting. Very fascinating. So for Annalie, if that's what she was writing about, it's so much in that to grieve.
And for me, the fact that my children are so far away from me, what I say is it's a choice I made where I am today for my own healing. I'm on my own journey of remembering who I am. But at the same time, I say it's like chopping off all my limbs and surviving with my torso. And trying to swim in life without my arms and legs.
Yeah, when you're I don't know how old you are, but when your kids are gone, and if there is, depending on where the connections are and things, it can be, such a strange place to be when you're not 100% connected.
Well,
to
especially
everyone.
like you and like at least I have 5 children, and that was my entire life. They were everything.
That was me.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was so devoted to them, and I stayed home with them.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
They were everything.
Mm-hmm. And then when you don't have them anymore
then
and
all
you
of a
haven't done
sudden,
anything else, it's that's why I'm saying at 60 years old, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
So it's it's a really,
And it's a weird world to be in, because
mm-hmm.
when all of a sudden that's over and I am left to take a hard look at myself, even in the job world, it's like, it's sad. I feel like we're not mothers that stayed home with their children,
Right.
aren't recognized for that. We aren't.
Because our societies have our values backwards.
Right. And
They give you 1 day of the year.
yeah, that's true.
it's a true fact, but you think about it, what skills we learned being moms, way more than people learn sometimes
Right.
out.
We're the
Outside.
CEO of our family.
Usually the money manager,
Yes.
usually
Yes.
the doctors and
Yes.
nurses.
Yeah. There's so much that comes up. I mean, it's all beautiful.
Yeah.
You learn to advocate and all the things. But yeah, that's what I found the most in the last few years, is that in society, I feel invisible. And when I have tried to apply for jobs and things, no, not even a response.
Yeah. Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
That's a really weird place to be, isn't it?
I really liked your writing in between breaths, in between of just embracing everything and then letting everything go. And then every time you embrace everything, everything's different. I just really like that. I do.
It's there's so much flux in our moments of time that all of us have. The ticking of seconds in our moments is standard throughout all of humanity. There is no variance in that movement of time. And I learned, because I kind of wanted to get an essence of this time ticking, that every one of us, in a year of time, go through 31,536,000 seconds. Every one of us. And the average time it takes to inhale and exhale a breath is approximately 4 seconds. And so in my life, I've gone through 500 million breaths in my life, and 2 billion seconds lived.
It's a lot of time.
So it was interesting for me to break that down and to think about it in seconds and breaths.
That's really cool. I haven't heard it broken down that way before. Right, Dana?
Oh, everybody's was so beautifully.
Our own.
Yeah, their own, and
Now yours is going to be your own.
yeah, well, mine. Yeah, I couldn't come up with a kind of an idea or even a thought we'd do like the stories the same type of thing, and then I just sat down and started spewing out some words, and then this memory came back of someone that had an idea about me that I must have been someone's lost love. And they were so wrong. So it was a memory that I ended up writing a little bit about that. But anyway. Okay, so these are just some thoughts I had. What is love? Is it kindness? Is it doing something without thinking about it for someone else? Is it keeping a clean house? Is it rubbing someone's feet? Is it cooking meals? Is it telling someone you love them? When I was 18, I thought love was fireworks, Prince Charming, riding up in a horse to steal me away. A tight butt, blue eyes, brown hair, 501s, and a flannel shirt. My perfect man. Dancing in the rain, laying in the grass, staring at the stars, holding hands, kissing under the moon. I thought being in love, I would never feel alone or hurt again. When I had been married for about 25 years, my aunt called me to tell me that someone I had dated seriously long ago had tried to take his life. His mom had called my aunt to ask if I was happy, was I okay? She thought that maybe they had ruined both of our lives because his parents had stepped in and broke us up. She wanted to make sure my marriage was good. This mom had thought because they had stepped in and ruined our relationship that somewhere we were almost a love that had not had a chance to finish. Her son had been through a divorce and now was laying in a hospital bed. I told my aunt I was actually very thankful they stepped in, but at that time, I remember being devastated. How thankful I was for the life I have had. I truly believe I'm with my soulmate. This journey has not always been easy, but I'm lucky to have this man beside me. I love you.
I don't know the people at all that story's about.
Yeah.
So this is hypothetical and it's not a judgment on them. It's just it's a possibility. The very response of that person calling and trying to make sense of what's happening to her son.
Yeah.
Could very well be an indication there's very little reflection on what role did I play in this boy's life.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because he was a star football player, quarterback. Scholarships all over the United States. And he had decided he was playing in Texas. And now I can't tell you which school in Texas, if it was A&M. I can't remember. He had left. And he decided he loved me so much, he quit. He walked away from his scholarship. And he came home after being gone 2 weeks.
You should have read The Alchemist.
And his parents, of course, freaked out because this boy was the star quarterback. And I think his dad probably lived through his dreams. And so, of course, they stepped in. Walking away from a scholarship, you now lose the ability to, it screws you out.
You have a scarlet letter, essentially, in
Right.
the college world.
So he ended up taking a red shirt to essentially Pocatello.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A very no-name nothing
school. And he had them all over Utah, all over everywhere. And so he redshirted it and actually ended up really never playing football. Dad and I ended up meeting eventually. His family, butted in. I didn't actually know they butted in, but I found out really at that point. But it was good they butted in. And Dad and I met a year later. And I always said always said how grateful I actually was, because I don't think I could have stayed married more than a year to him with the way the family dynamics were with them. and I am grateful that our life, that I met Dad, because there was such a difference. Like, the connection with me and him was not anything like I had with this young man who was a human being, was very beautiful looking on the outside. And I'm sure, but he
had some stuff.
Yeah. And I didn't, looking back now, I can see that stuff. But I didn't see that stuff then.
That's often the case.
Love
I
is
feel like.
blind.
Yeah. He would leave me. I would be sitting at his family's house. He'd go see a friend of his, and he'd go talk to him forever. And I would just have to wait for him. And his brother would walk in and say, "What the heck? Where did he go?" And I'd say, "Oh, he's over so-and-so's house." And he'd go, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." I mean, that's the kind of person he was, that, at that time.
How long did you date for?
We wrote for a bunch of months. We wrote from January till May, and then he came home, surprised me. This was a missionary. Missions got cut down to 18 months. Mm-hmm. So he surprised me to come home for a dance to take me to. And so I met him for the first time going over to the family's house for a family home evening. They told me to come, and out he walks, And but he told me once that I was like the devil because I turned him on. And
that is a lot of how it gets taught in a faith like LDS religion.
Mm-hmm. And that was difficult because
that's not how I acted.
No. You
In any way.
You embraced the devil.
I was not. I didn't even. I didn't even talk in those terms.
Yeah,
I know.
I did not talk.
But what was
I did not talk in those terms.
But when I met Dad, because we were kissing, I started sobbing.
She was.
I was
worried.
sobbing because I said, I'm the devil. And he literally looked at me and
I almost laughed.
I'm not. No, but that was something that really affected me.
Yeah.
Because of what he said.
It affects a lot of people.
And so I looked at you more as an angel than a devil.
Yeah. But these parents, we were married. I don't know. We've been married. It was do you remember when they came to see us?
Vaguely.
So he had just gotten married, and they came to see me and Dad.
I think that shows to what Jeff said.
Mm-hmm. I think they didn't love her, and they were wanting to come
scouting you out.
I don't know, see if we were good. And I remember they came to our reception too. But
they were also the family that helped you join the Mormon church, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they felt a real tight.
So they may not have. It may have been a connection just to.
Yeah. They came. They loved me. I mean, at that point. I mean, and then when her son's life was falling completely apart, and they had a part in that, and they knew they had a part in that. I'm sure they did think, wait a minute, did I screw up somehow? Because what if she's miserable and he's miserable?
Oh, that would fix everything.
No, it would have been awful, right? Can you imagine knowing you'd screwed people up? That's really a mess.
Well, I don't know why you think that you had any part in
No,
that.
I didn't. I'm saying she was looking for answers, and thank goodness, like I told him, thank goodness I'm very happy in my marriage. So you can pass that on, is what I said. Anyways, I thought that was it. I hadn't thought about that.
It's a funny thing to
Yeah,
say.
this,
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting that message?
No, I didn't.
She's very happy.
Did you talk to Mommy?
Pass
Yes, I
that.
did. She's so happy.
Well,
With
that's
7
what I
kids.
said. What was
That's
I
some
supposed-
dark humor.
But what was I
let's
supposed to
do
say?
this.
Like, MTV, that's what she did. She had to call her.
It was just funny. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hadn't thought about that memory for a really long time, and that was something that popped up. So,
Thanks for sharing.
yeah.
So, did you watch that one? We have 2.
Wait,
We have
that's
two.
the one from her house.
We have 2.
Where's the other one?
Somewhere in our house.
I just received
I
a
don't know
finger
where it is.
picture.
It's his
Ah.
now, so
Nice.
you're gonna have to find
Oh,
it.
wait a minute. I had 5 of those. Where the heck are they? No, I mean, I've given them away. But
I wonder where they're at. All right. This is a poem I wrote this week. It's called Fight. How do you see me? If it's on top of a mountain, take me off. If it's in a deep, dark pit, take me out. If it's on the ground with everyone else, keep me there. Don't make me lost to you. Othering only isolates your soul. Don't love me too much or idealize my actions or non-actions. Keep me here with you. I don't want to be lost to you. The barrier of entry already touches infinity. How do you see me? If there is beauty in my words, leave them behind. If there is pain in my presence, I am sorry. I'm only human. There isn't anything else I can do. I'm lost to you not by choice, rather sundered circumstance. I've isolated my soul, placing you all on mountains or pits too deep to look into. I've loved too much, idealized your actions and non-actions. I don't know if I can stay. I'm lost to you. How do you see me?
I hope you can stay.
There it is.
I know I can't stand it.
You're very consistent.
Literal in my.
It reminds me of putting people up on a pedestal, and ultimately, nobody can attain that level of perfection.
Makes me think of how much energy I have spent trying to be in someone else's head, trying to see the unseeable. And I wonder how often energy spent that way actually pushes people away. It doesn't actually bring people close.
I really think it does just push people away. I think the act of doing it, like you said, nobody's actually on that pedestal.
Yeah.
So when you act a certain way around people, like they are on top of a mountain or in a deep dark pit instead of here with you, it instantly isolates you and that person.
What were you meaning when you wrote about the being on the mountain and the pit? Were you particularly meaning about anyone or just in your...
The beginning or the end?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, did you do that twice?
Yep. And
One
they
was-
were very different.
Yeah.
Oh, I maybe heard the darker one. The one at the one that made it seem like
The darker one.
Well, the one that made it seem to me like the people were up here.
I think some of what I heard was I've put people so high or so low that I'm very alone. That's essentially what I heard.
Is that what you were?
In one half of the poem, yeah.
So in the other half, what were you meaning?
As I listened to your poem, a phrase, a sort of rebuttal came to my mind. A rebuttal to your poem.
I love rebuttals.
Phrase is, I know who Peyton is. And I just don't think anyone can truly say that to anybody.
Yeah.
Or about anybody.
I agree.
You mean that too many people take for granted that we do say those things to people? What do you mean by that?
Like if you say you know someone, you're instantly putting them in a pit.
Or on a mountain.
Or on the mountain.
So instead of wanting to learn more about somebody, we just go, oh my gosh, this person's so great. Look at the wonderful achievements they've done.
When you have somebody in your life, how many moments do you actually show to that person? Is it all of you? Does anybody ever experience all of somebody's moments?
Well,
It's because it's always seen through their perception of that moment,
Yeah.
rather than thinking about really being present in that moment with another human being.
Do you mean all of their moments, or do you mean all of themselves in the moment? Because I don't quite know what all of their moments means.
So like you outside of this room, if you were somewhere else, you'd be having a different moment, not in this group.
Sure.
So all of your moments don't get seen by me
Yeah, right.
or mom.
Okay, right.
But mom or me will base all, well, it's just kind of what people do. We will just,
What we think
Well,
on some moment.
we'll push all of what somebody is to us onto them.
Yeah.
I think looking back, I can say sometimes for sure that I've done that to my kids. Thinking they're one way or another just because of actions or non-action or whatever. And it's not that you mean to do that. It's just...
Well, and I mean, to that point, on a different level, how often have I done that to myself?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
How
the
often
first
have
to-
I,
Yeah.
instead of allowing myself to be present, taken the stories about past or future and shoved them onto my present, essentially causing blindness to what's in front of me?
Yeah.
I've been so angry sitting in a room like with Dad's family just because of past things.
You could just even keep it to Dad.
Yeah, you could just say, sitting in a room
With
With-
him.
how mad you have been in that moment with me. You don't even have to bring my family.
You could even sing it to the podcast.
You could just
in the
just get right to me. I mean, my goodness, I'm with you a lot more than my family is. So I mean, it should be just.
I was just picturing
know.
your family and sitting there thinking about a bunch of BS that they're talking about or something. And I'm thinking, in my opinion, I'm thinking they're just full crap. They're just full crap because they don't really, they're
Are they
not
full of crap or just full crap?
full of crap.
I think the
And I'm just
distinction
making-
matters.
But do you really? I mean, that's your perception.
No,
but,
no.
I mean,
I'm
in
thinking
their
about
world, in their
past
minds,
things.
it
I'm
may
just
be
thinking of
not
past
crap.
things. And you're right.
Well, that's
To
to Peyton's
them-
point, right?
Right, exactly.
That's the thing. That's
Exactly.
interesting, right? I can just, where they're all happy and jolly and everything's grand with all of them. And I'm thinking, you guys are full of it. Like, you're not being honest anywhere. That's what I have felt
That's
before.
your perception,
In a
right?
room
That's-
many years
right.
ago, felt
Right.
that way sitting there.
And that just may be the language that they all live.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. I can remember getting done with the thing and being just so angry sitting there. Everybody's gone.
Just
I am like,
boiling.
I can't take this. I can't take being around them. I'm so angry. And I thought that's a lot of wasted time
Exactly.
that we sometimes, because of letting
It's a
people
lot of
affect
wasted
them.
time that you've given to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was many years ago.
I can't help but keep going back for me with what you wrote, and correct me if this isn't accurate. But I felt like in the whole concept of putting people on a pedestal or in a pit, that in being aware of that in your life, that you became more self-aware of your value or your worth or who you are. I don't know. That's what kept coming to me, is that in all of this chaos that maybe we let go on in the moment around our perceptions of what other people are thinking or doing, or on a pedestal or in a pit, that we become more aware of me, or of you, or of whatever.
I really wrote that to try to say I'm sorry for all the times I've done that to all you guys.
What's interesting is we're getting to the age where we are becoming the older one, and it's interesting, like being put on the pedestal by other people and feeling that stress, and you're like, whoa, and then it makes you realize what you've done to other people, like putting that expectation and then feeling the expectation from the vice versa.
Yeah, I've been saying that lately, that expectation is the killer of all relationships, and
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have to kick back a little bit, Peyton, and say apologies, I don't think are even thought of from my end or necessary, because again, I go back to being maybe grateful to you that you have become more aware of that, or that it's an awareness that in you to think that you have to say you're sorry or apologize for
I don't
anything.
have to do
I
it.
know, but I just don't. I feel like it's more refreshing for me that you don't need to apologize for, anything.
I would say it in a way that says, like, the growth you're talking about, going through new experiences, having new perspectives that allows you to start to see self differently. And the acknowledgement, I think, is more about, seeing self-betrayal. It's like, I was not being the best version of myself. And I think being able to have a seat and see someone go through that journey that's cool.
Yeah. You said it much better than I'm trying to express it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's cool.
Good job, buddy.
Can I ask why you said sorry?
I guess all actions are selfish, but for selfish reasons.
See, I don't find all actions selfish.
How can you not? We can get into that.
Well, I think when you are taking care of other people, you don't often get to have selfish actions.
Why do you do anything you do at all?
I mean, I kept you alive, so
Why?
that was at least good.
Why did you do that?
Well, because you came from my body, and so it was really important that I kept you alive.
Why didn't you just let me die?
Well, because that wasn't the kind of person I am.
Oh, really?
I prefer to not do that to my children.
So because you're not a certain type of person, you wouldn't act a certain way.
It's a selfish protection of your core.
Yeah, not
That
to
you
kill
are.
people?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it's pretty important.
And selfish doesn't have to be negative.
Yeah, I think of selfish of a lot of sometimes
I could
different
tell.
people I know.
Right, you held very rigidly to a very specific view
Yeah.
or definition of the word.
Yeah, I think I needed to be more selfish in life, actually.
I actually agree with you.
Because sometimes we don't protect ourselves enough. And sometimes we need to be selfish in protecting ourselves.
But does the
That makes sense.
innate care and compassion and mothering instincts that you have, can't those not be a selfish, natural?
I think you're thinking about that word negatively. Like it has a negative connotation to it. It doesn't have to at all.
Right.
Like think about the word faith.
So having a mother's instincts is a selfish action.
Maybe another way of saying it is what comes out of a person, the flower you see is it's birthed by a whole bunch of factors and processes, not just one. It's a complicated process that's informed by a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
That
It's
make
not
us
just
who we are.
a linear one thing leads to another thing leads to another. It's a very messy conglomerate of movement, and it's complicated.
Yeah, and
That's
I
all.
think that I used to spend a lot of time being stuck in the complicated mess that we are.
Maybe.
I know that for 100% of the fact. And I feel like almost if you would take that poem and maybe that's what you were meaning in all of that somehow maybe in all of that you were stuck in some of the mess.
Yeah, of course.
And I think, and that's grand for all of us if we can figure out how to look outside of that.
Well, being human is being stuck in the mess. That's why we came here.
Right. Yeah, but it's so nice to see out.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yes.
Take us home.
Woohoo!
Thank you, everybody, for joining Inside the Broken Family podcast. If you liked today's episode, please give a like, follow, share it to friends and family. And if you give us a 5-star review, it will be a selfless act.
That's so good.
That's so good.
That's so good.